Jim Rogers is an American businessman, investor, and financial commentator. He's famous for founding the Quantum Fund. He's currently based in Singapore and has said that the 21st century belongs to China. Today, I ask him about global markets and where he sees growth. Welcome to Money Magazine, Jim.
I am delighted to be here, Melissa. My pleasure.
Thanks. So you are bullish on China, but China's credit has grown at more than twice the pace of its economic growth, and its debt is at 250% of its GDP. Does this concern you?
It certainly concerns me. Melissa, you must understand, America was the most successful country in the 20th century, but along the way, we had 15 depressions, we had a horrible civil war, we had few human rights, we had many problems, and yet America became successful. China's going to have problems. Every individual or family or company that rises has problems along the way. That's the way the world works. I'm bullish on China more for historic reasons. China is the only country in the world that's been successful 3 or 4 times. Rome was great once. Egypt was great once. Great Britain was great once. China's been great 3 or 4 times, Melissa.
The Chinese government is closely involved and almost intrusive in private business. Do you think this is a good or a bad thing? And do you see this as a possible global trend?
For some reason, the government in China is better than other governments and has been more successful. Now, is it the way it should be in the future? I don't know. It's not been that way historically, but the Chinese may be changing history.
You've said that we are going to experience the worst bear market in our lifetimes in a few years. Why do you say this?
Well, what I said was the worst economic crisis, yes, because in 2008, the world had a big problem because of too much debt. Most stocks in the New York Stock Exchange have been going down for 2 years. Most stock markets around the world are down. Japan is in recession. Many parts of Europe and America are in recession. You're going to have bankruptcies, turmoil, social unrest. Some governments are going to fail. Some countries may even fail.
All the central banks seem to be printing money. Where do you see that taking us?
Never has the world been able to solve its problem by printing money. That's why the debt goes higher and higher, because interest rates are nothing. The central banks buy the debt.
Is there turmoil coming if Trump becomes president?
If Mr. Trump becomes president and does what he says, it's going to be trade war, which will lead to bankruptcy and war, always has.
And what about a Hillary Clinton presidency?
Same thing, just take longer. She doesn't know what she's doing.
If you were president, what would you do?
This central bank is making the problem worse and worse and worse. So I'd first abolish the central bank, and I would cut spending with a chainsaw. America's got to cut spending so dramatically, and then I would probably be assassinated.
You say abolish central banks. That means that, are you then in favor of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin?
Most of the central bankers these days are hopeless, are useless. So we'd probably have to abolish most central banks. We need something to compete with the US dollar. I don't see any currency on the horizon, maybe the renminbi someday. Many of our lives these days are being changed by computers. So chances are there would be a computer currency which would solve or at least change the problem that we're having with money right now.
Brexit was a surprise to most people. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel for the UK? And do you see the rest of the EU going the same way?
Well, there's not much light at the end of the tunnel for the UK. The UK is extremely heavily indebted. There's nothing really to save the UK. If the Scots leave, they're going to take their oil with them, and that's just going to make things worse for England. There are many politicians who want to leave the EU. This just encourages them. So if nothing else, you're going to see more movements like that.
The sterling has dropped to its lowest point in over 30 years. Where do you see currencies right now? The sterling's down, the renminbi's down. What currency is your safe haven? And
sterling is going to go a lot lower in the next 3 or 4 years. I own a lot of US dollars. America is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, Melissa, but people think it's a safe haven. So more people, as turmoil gets worse, more people will put their money into US dollars. It will go higher, it will get overpriced, may turn into a bubble. So that's essentially where I have my investments now because of the turmoil which is coming.
You're currently invested in Russia. You used to be pessimistic on Russia. What prompted this change?
I saw change in the Pentagon, in the Kremlin. I see that something was changing. I don't know whether it's Mr. Putin or other people. I bought Russian government bonds in rubles recently, a week or two ago. I don't know. We'll know in 5 years whether I was right or not. I own Foss Agro, which is a large fertilizer company where I'm a director. I own Aeroflot, the airline. I own the Moscow Stock Exchange. I own a few things.
You recently launched an index fund focusing on mining, metals, agriculture, and alternative energy. Why do you think these areas are important?
You cannot wake up in the morning without being affected by these areas. You eat breakfast, you have coffee or sugar or orange juice or bread, whatever. You get to work on a bus or a taxi or a motorcycle. Everything from the time you wake up.
And what's your view on commodity prices now?
Well, I'm bullish on agriculture. Energy is in the process of making a bottom, complicated bottom, over the period of a couple of years. Gold, I will buy if it goes, when it goes down more. It just depends on which commodity.
Have industrial metals bottomed out?
Probably, but I'm not buying at the moment just because I'm watching. I'm worried about the world.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.